So if you're the guy that goes to the gun range and shoots 20, 40, 60 rounds to zero their gun, this is definitely gonna help you get there faster and simpler. So from a high level, what zeroing your rifle means is co-aligning your scope to where your bullet is hitting at a certain range. So we're gonna keep this super basic, and we've got a barreled action that we have in an Oryx chassis here, and we're gonna be shooting off a backpack like you might have yourself. Ideally, if you do have a bipod, you can throw that on as well. If you wanna make this a little bit easier on yourself, go and grab a rear bag as well. Just makes your life a little bit simpler. So what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be shooting at 100 yards. The reason you want to zero at 100 yards is there's going to be less influence on that bullet from the environmentals you have around you. So you might be able to hear right now is we have a bit of a wind going on. With that wind, even at 100 yards, it's still going to blow me off to the left a little bit. If we go to 200 yards, it's going to blow me off quite a bit. Now my preference is to zero at 100 yards, but generally the clicks on your scope are going to be in 1/4 inch increments at 100 yards. So if you are inside of 100 yards, that one click is actually going to be 1/2 of an inch adjustment. At 200 yards, it's actually going to be 1/8 of an inch of adjustment. So doing it at 100 just makes your life easier. So before you even start shooting, there's some things you should do, and that is going to be checking all your screws and torques on everything you have on this gun. One of the most common things I see people doing is they'll just hammer a pile of rounds downrange, can't figure out why their zero shifting around, and it comes down to their scope mounts loose, their rails loose, their barreled action's loose. So the screws I always check are going to be my action screws first. I'm going to check those, make sure they're torqued right. I'm going to check my rail screws if I don't have an integral rail on here. Then I'm going to check the base screws on the actual mount, and then I'm going to check my ring screws as well. And I always go and do these in a cross pattern if I have more than 2 screws holding that top cap on. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench, don't stress about it. Torque wrench just guarantees you're more consistent time and time again, and just makes your life easier because you have that peace of mind knowing that it is tight enough. Now that you know everything's tight in the system and you're likely not going to be fighting this as an issue, you need to go and understand how this scope operates. I'm going to highly recommend you go and print off or have the manual for your scope on your phone. So what that manual is going to tell you is how much movement you have per click of your scope. This is a nicer hunting scope. It's a VX5 Leupold. So they do have exposed turrets on here. They're locking as well. So you feel a click every time you turn it. What that click means is it's going to move 1/4 of an inch to the left, the right, up or down, depending on what turret you're using. So we have an exposed turret on the top here for your elevation. So that's going to make your reticle go up or down to match your bullet. And then you have your windage on the side here. This one's capped, and that's going to go to your left or to your right for your reticle. And on the other side, we have your parallax turret. Basically what that allows us to do is make sure that the scope is lined up with my eye, which is lined up with the paper downrange, essentially. This just basically allows your optics to be lined up correctly to your eye and to the target down at the certain range it is. So the last thing we're going to talk about with this scope, most hunting scopes are what they refer to as second focal plane. A more competition type or higher end scopes are first focal plane. So what does this actually mean? With a second focal plane scope, your reticle stay the same size no matter where you are with your zoom on your scope. Now when you go to a first focal plane scope, your reticle actually changes with how much magnification you are using. The advantage of this is that you can also use this reticle for measuring downrange as well. So if you miss, you can see where it hit at on your reticle and adjust and then make a follow-up shot. Okay, so one of the important things that people overlook when they're setting up to zero in a rifle is the target they're going to be using. So today we're going to be using a full box essentially. Now depending on the scope you're shooting, if you're shooting like a 3-9 hunting scope, you're going to want a lot larger dot because they're harder to see at that distance, and likely your crosshairs are going to be thicker as well, so you're going to block out more of that dot. If I'm shooting like say one of our high-end match scopes, I'm going to use a very, very small dot because I want a very small aiming point. Okay, so generally when I go and I shoot at a round dot, I'm gonna go and use the bottom edge. I'm gonna try and line up my crosshairs on this edge right here. I find that gives me more of a consistent aiming point, makes it super easy to find a spot to aim at, and then kind of get a rough measurement to where that is. And then down below here, I've got a target that actually has 1/4 inch grids on it. That's gonna allow you to really fine tune that zero in and get a good solid zero. The other thing I noticed too is people that struggle with zeroing, generally they're shooting by themselves. If you can't see where those rounds are going down range, having that second person helping you spot is a lot easier. They can also help you when you're actually even bore sighting the gun like we're about to do here. Bore sighting is a rough way to line up your barrel center line to your optical center line of your scope. First step of this is going to be to remove your bolt. Take that out of there. Okay, so this is not the most ideal way to do this. If you can have a bipod, that's always gonna be better, or even some sandbags is gonna be better than this. Now with this lined up, I've got the center of my bore lined up with the top corner of the paper down there, and I've got my reticle lined up fairly close as well. Now this is not a perfect science. You are not gonna be dead on as soon as you send around. It likely will be a little low, depending on how good you are at this. The bigger the paper, the better sometimes. Now, if you do find yourself stuck on this step, we do have a full video about bore sighting. You can find it right here. Okay, so now that I have it bore sighted, I'm gonna throw my bolt back in here and get ready to send around downrange. I'm gonna hold the third dot down in the middle and send it from there. Okay, so my point of aim was right here. My point of impact was over here. So point of aim is where you're aiming at. Your point of impact is where your bullet lands at. I was off on windage quite a bit and a little bit high. That's normal, being a little bit high when you bore sight like that, being this far off on the wind. I guess I didn't have a great bore sight. So what I'm gonna do is measure what this is approximately. That'll bring me over in line with this dot here where my aiming point was, and then we'll come down as well. So this is a 6-inch ruler. We'll call it 8 inches over, and that is about 2.5 inches down. So first I'm gonna go and move my windage on here. But the quick way to do this in your head is just to count the clicks off, and I need to move 8 inches. I know there is 4 1/4 inches in an inch, so I'm gonna go and move this 32 times to the left. So usually rule of thumb is you wanna take at least 2 shots before adjusting your scope. Now I did not do that on this first shot because I'm just really trying to get a rough zero on this gun. Okay, so I'm gonna use the same point of aim again and see what I can do. Okay, so I sent my second round here and I'm probably within 1.5 inches of the center of that dot. I'm gonna send one more round, see where it lands, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got one shot that's to the left. I guess it's probably closer to 9 o'clock on this. And then we have one right around about 12:30. With that backpack and no rear bag, that's what the amount of wobble I had, maybe a little bit less than that. Now with these 2 shots being so far apart around my point of aim, I'm not gonna make an adjustment from those. I'm gonna go let that barrel cool back down. I'm pretty happy with where that's at. What we're gonna do now is actually go and shoot it on paper. And to make this a little bit more accurate, we're actually gonna go and switch to a bipod on the front and a rear bag on the back. You know, if you're the guy that has only a backpack though, you can still definitely follow along. Next time I shoot, I'm gonna send 3 rounds and see where those land, and then I'll make a better adjustment off of the center of that group. When I see people at the gun range making mistakes zeroing their rifle, 95% of the time, it's when they're just sending round after round after round, and that barrel is smoking hot. They probably can even cook bacon on it. When it heats up, it starts to spread out elevation-wise. Generally, my rule of thumb is if I can hold on to it, that's pretty good. If I'm doing my final zero on that, I want that to be almost dead cold before I send the next rounds. So for this setup, we're gonna go and shoot at the center target of that piece of paper. So it is really handy to go and buy targets that have actual squares on them or measurements on them. Generally, these are gonna be measured in 1/4 inch and 1 inch increments or 1/2 inch increments as well, because most scopes are 1/4 inch per click or 1/4 MOA per click. Let's take measurement. Okay, so here's a quick tip for you so you don't have to run back and forth down range all the time to check target down there, especially with the lower power scopes. If you keep a target here, you generally can reference it fairly well through your reticle and identify where your points are that you hit. So we have our first shot here, second shot was over here, third shot was here. So I'm gonna estimate that as being 1/2 inch. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and move it from my point of impacts here down to my center point of aim. So I'm gonna take out 2 clicks, and then we'll let this barrel cool down and we'll send another 3 rounds. I'm gonna go and move to the top center diamond now on this next set of shots. That just keeps it nice and clean so you don't go and mistake one of your shots from your first group into your second group. That looked pretty good. That was inside the diamond there, just about 10 o'clock. Looks like that one was just sitting to the left as well. Now we do have a pretty good wind here today. It's probably pushing about 10 or 12 mile an hour, and that is enough to move that off about that 1/4 inch to the left. Generally you want to try and do this when you have a little bit calmer weather. Yeah, that's a nice group down there. So I'm gonna say that is zeroed at that point. All my groups are inside of this diamond. Now, depending on your scope, this is definitely more common with a little bit higher end scopes. You can actually go and zero your turrets out. Now, this is where that manual comes in super handy that you brought with you. That's gonna show you how to do that and make sure you do it accurately. After I've done that, I will then go and recheck my zero one more time. Okay, so the process we just went through was to go and aim at this full size piece of cardboard here. My point of aim was this point here, and my first shot was this impact over here. What we did was come down, measure that off, and adjust it over. My next shot was here, my next shot was there. So then we moved to the piece of paper here, and my first shot was up here, next shot was down here, and then my third shot came back into the center here. With these two shots here, I went and I took out 2 clicks, so I went down 1/2 inch to center it up in the spot here. So you can see this is actually centered up pretty good on this plane because these are the next 3 shots I sent, and they are sitting a little bit to the left. Now that sitting a little bit to the left doesn't really bother me too much because we do have a pretty strong wind here right now. And I feel pretty confident that if I go and shoot this on another day, it should be centered up nicely. So on my hunting rigs, I'm pretty particular about when I'm doing my zero. Like I said, today I'd be confident in that 3-shot zero, but I would absolutely make sure I come back and do a full cold bore. That is the very first shot out of that rifle. There has not been a shot out of it for a day or several hours at least, and that's super important when you are hunting because you want to make sure that first shot goes exactly where you send it. I would come back here, let's say later this evening, hopefully the wind would calm down. I'd send 1 or 2 rounds, confirm where my hit is, and then I'd be very happy with that. Now, if I'm going on a really important hunt, I'll do that several times over the next week to make sure that my zero does not shift and it holds really, really well.